Welcome to the Empowerment Hour podcast, your digital classroom where individuals across all ages, backgrounds, and career levels tune in to get their weekly dose of inspiration and motivation. It's where passion and purpose intersect. I am your host, Nancy Ruffin, the self-proclaimed Latina Oprah, and your very own personal success coach. My goal is to help you discover your purpose and take inspired action so that you create a life where you feel fulfilled and empowered. So if you're ready to start living on purpose, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. You are tuned to the Empowerment Hour podcast. I am your host, Nancy Ruffin, aka the Latina Oprah. In case you forgot, let me remind you all. It's good to be back, y'all. Like, I feel, even though I was back last week, that 1 week that I was on hiatus, that I took the break from because I had the live podcast, I really feel like I've been gone way longer. So it's just good to be here tonight with you guys. Happy Father's Day, y'all. To all the fathers out there, and to all of the men who may not have biologically fathered children, but still care for, nurture, take care of, a child. Happy Father's Day to you men as well, because it's a hard job, and one that too many men don't take seriously. And so for those of you who really take responsibility and just show up and are present and are there, this is your day. Happy Father's Day. I hope that you have enjoyed the day with your little ones, and just know that you guys are appreciated. And if no one has told you, let me be the one to tell you, we appreciate you. Our children need father figures. They need male role models, because as great as we women are, and as great as we are in shouldering, a lot of things, a lot of the burdens when it comes to parenting and raising children, nothing that we do can ever replace what you men do. You guys are necessary. So thank you for all of the men out there who take responsibility for their kids and show up for them and are present and are raising them. In preparation for this episode, I wanted to pay tribute to, I guess, the man in my life who has really influenced the woman that I am, and that's my own father. He has always been a very present figure in mine and my sister's lives. He has raised us to be independent and smart and vocal in our opinions. Often, when it comes to him, he kind of says, where did I go wrong? Because he always wanted us to be independent and vocal and, just strong women, but not when it came to him, right? So in that respect, it kind of fired, because while we do respect our father immensely, my sister and I have no qualms or no problems, in calling him out, telling him when he's wrong, or standing up for ourselves, advocating for ourselves. We've always been that way since we were little girls. And so for this week's episode, I really just wanted to share with you all a little bit of what our relationship is like. And so this past week, I went over to my sister's house. I took my recording stuff and I pressed record during what we call family time. And this is where we have really open and candid conversations and dialogue. And initially, I had pressed record because I didn't want them to know that I was recording, because I didn't want them to be aware and tailor their conversation based on the fact that they knew that they were going to be recorded. But then, the spot got blown up. They realized I was taping them. But in any case, we still did have a really, really great conversation. And so that is what I'm going to be sharing on this week's episode. It's going to give you guys a behind the scenes look as to what my relationship with my dad is. You'll also hear the conversation that we have, and I guess you get to hear me in a different way, because I'm just really being my genuine self and who I am when I'm around my family. And I don't know, maybe it may not differ so much, because I think that I am who I am for the most part in the public eye and when I'm with my family. So it's really, in my opinion, I think it's a great episode. It gives you guys a little history also on who I am and why I am the way that I am, and why I advocate, so much for certain causes. A lot of who I am is a result of my dad. And even though him and I differ greatly when it comes to our political views, he is a man who I admire and respect immensely. We get into it at times, but I love him. And although I may come for his neck when he's out of pocket with certain political views, I'd be damned if I let anyone ever disrespect him or call him out his name or any of that. Like, I'm very protective over my family. But yeah, this episode is really great. I think when you guys start hearing the conversation, where it comes in is my father scolding me because I used the wrong word in a sentence. And so I believe I said nothing, the word nothing, and the word should have been anything. I don't know, one of those two, but you'll see. So without any further ado, here is my dedication to my daddy and to all fathers with this special Father's Day episode. Hope you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to leave some feedback, rate the show, leave a comment, and just let me know your thoughts, and let me know if these types of conversations, these candid behind the scenes dialogue that I have, if this is something you want to hear more of, let me know. I can definitely make that happen. And just, I guess, a disclaimer. I recorded the episode in my sister's backyard, so you're going to hear birds chirping. You might hear, the wind. You're going to hear, I guess, the noises in our surrounding, because it was really a very natural conversation. It was very candid. So without any further ado, here is this week's episode.
It just goes to show you, St. John's has better education. He never uses it. Nothing.
Look, first of all, the way I communicate when I'm with my family.
No.
Okay, and when I'm in the public eye is two different things. So you can't tell me. First of all, there's a difference of choosing how I speak and knowing the difference.
When you're in the hood, we're not the hood.
We are from the hood, and I think that's what you forget. We are from there, and just because we are from there does not mean we have to forget where we are from.
You don't regress.
Nobody's regressing.
Listen, nobody knows better.
Nobody's regressing. Maybe that's just how she likes to
anything.
speak.
No, but this is correct.
But it doesn't matter.
Incorrect.
You know what? You say a lot of incorrect stuff all the time, and we let you live.
No, bring it up.
We let you live.
Believe me,
we bring it up all the time.
I would appreciate if you bring it up.
We do. Your political views are incorrect
all
the time.
The other day you said. Wait a minute. Stop. The other day he said something wrong in Spanish, okay, communicating to someone, and they called me on the phone from Florida to say who said what. And of course, He's like, why are you asking her? She doesn't even speak Spanish well, but I knew the difference. Mommy knew the difference. We did Google Translate, and homeboy had an attitude though. He couldn't even stand. He couldn't even stand to know that.
But you brought it to my
to admit that he was incorrect. But you were mad.
I was mad at the time. You know why I'm mad?
Why were you upset?
Because I should have known it. That's why I was mad.
Were you mad or were you upset?
Upset both.
No, actually, because only dogs get mad.
That's why I asked him: is he mad or he's upset?
So I think you need to check.
If you look it up,
mad is a word that you only usually attribute to like dogs or animals.
Colloquialism.
Yes.
It can be, look,
okay.
Google,
okay. Look, the bottom line
past,
is you want to act. You want to act.
Now it's accepted.
That what?
Now it's accepted.
Accepted by whom?
Look, Google it.
Oh.
Funkin' Wagner's Webster's Dictionary, whichever one.
Wow, how to use? Oh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah. See.
Look, Johanny learns something new every day.
Only dogs get mad. I knew that.
Oh, you did?
But we just so accustomed to using it, it comes up naturally.
Exactly the same way for her. She's so accustomed to using nothing versus anything.
But as a college and a person with a, I don't have a master's.
But it doesn't matter. But it doesn't.
No. I have to agree with it because the fact that you are an
Why did you go to school then?
Master, you're an author. You shouldn't really be using.
First of all, I'm not an English master.
Incorrect.
First of all, and you will, and any person.
How many books you've authored?
True people know. Writers, our imagination is the creativity. It's not the grammatically correct. It's not the spelling. That's what you have editors for. They're the ones that's supposed to go and spot check all of that.
Here's the editor. You're looking at the editor right here.
Okay.
You're looking at the editor.
You're not my editor.
Okay.
Okay.
When I'm around you, I am.
No, you're not.
All I gotta say is that I'm a theory guy. I'm the idea guy here. Don't forget that. Please put that on the blogcast.
You're the what? What idea?
That first book, I sat down with you and we theorized.
Did she ever give you credit?
First of all, wait, hold up.
You get credit though.
Hold up.
You got credit?
No, but it was not your idea. That book evolved out of my blog that I was already doing.
Actually, no, it wasn't. It was his idea because it was you.
What was it?
You were just having you just were having poems and stuff. You were writing, and he said, "Why don't you make it in a book?" Nancy forgets a lot of stuff like that.
Correct her. Just remember.
That's what we're here for.
That's why we support her and correct her.
There you go.
I want that on tape.
I can't take this family.
Okay, I didn't have a high degree.
I give credit where credit is due.
Well, that was a long time ago, so I can see how you can forget.
And it's true. I don't remember a lot of stuff. My memory is not that great. I'll admit it.
There you go. So you're sorry now.
You got two parents here. Ask them questions about like raising kids. Ask them questions.
No, actually, this conversation was supposed to be. Well, it's really Father's Day centered.
But for single moms, sometimes they're playing that role too, honey.
You're not. 10 years.
I keep making a lot of
15 years of 15 years of father.
Daddy, what would you say is the biggest mistake you believe you've made in raising Diana and myself?
I never made any mistakes.
You never made any mistakes?
Everything I did, I knew exactly what I was doing.
Oh, well, no, you can say that now because me and Diana turned out to be pretty great kids.
You know what I gotta say though? Your father said it, my mom said it the other day. Being a parent is a crapshoot. You pray every day that everything.
My father always says that.
I always said it. It's a crapshoot.
So I'm okay. So you didn't make any mistakes. I beg to differ, but we're not here to highlight your mistakes. But what would you say then was the most challenging thing in raising not just kids but daughters?
Every time you guys had the pains, I was happy. That meant another month went by.
Jesus.
Another month went by.
So your greatest challenge or concern was just making sure we didn't come out pregnant?
We got pregnant. From the background that we came from, the hoods that we were involved with, a lot of your friends were going through. That was a big thing.
That is true, because I often say when I talk about my own journey to motherhood and I compare myself to a lot of my friends, and I'm here with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my friends, their kids are graduating college.
Some of your friends are grandparents.
Yeah, they're right.
And even now, even with my granddaughters, I still, they're in that age now, so impressionable that God knows the things that could happen at their young age. It's terrifying. Me, even as a grandparent.
Imagine parents.
You know?
Well, no, now we know.
And then, you know,
and you understand, right? Exactly.
And it's different now, I think, because we didn't have a lot of the pressures that these kids have today.
I think they have the same pressures.
No, I think it's different because everything is publicized. Everything's on social media. You can't do anything these days without you possibly showing up on the internet.
Right.
We didn't have that. So if we screwed up as kids, it kind of just eventually went away.
Whereas, like, a lot of things when we were growing up, like, could have been a rumor. You know? Like, I mean, what was one of the main things you always taught us when we were growing up?
Don't take anything from boys, from men.
No, not even that.
What?
Deny.
Oh, yes,
yes. Everything and meant
nothing.
Well, no. One of the other things, too, though, he didn't want us to ever take gifts from boys because he didn't want them to be put in a position where they felt that we had to give them something.
Right, but what I was alluding to was just that, you know, back then when the rumor mill went around, you could deny it. You could be, you know, a boy could say something about you and you could be like, he's lying. Whereas now everything is so documented through social media, the telephones, the cameras, the text messages,
screenshots.
Right, all of that. So, you know, now these kids got proof. Like, look, this is what happened and I'm not lying. So, you know, so I think that in that respect, but to your point, yeah, I mean, I remember even it wasn't only boys, but I mean, I remember, you know, Dad was so well respected in the neighborhood that, you know, you know, there would be men that would come into the store and they would say, you know, oh, let me pay for your candy or whatever the case may be, and we would just have to say absolutely not. Like, yeah. And the guy, I remember the owner of the store, he already knew, and we would be like, because they would be very insistent on some paper or whatever we were getting, and he would be like, no. They, you know, they won't let you pay for anything. Like, you know, we would always pay for our own stuff.
And it's funny because, well, not that it's funny, but it's those things and those lessons or those discrete lessons, right? Because at the point, you don't realize, you don't even understand, you know, why you can't do it. It was just Daddy said you can't,
right?
And that's it. And we're like, well, you know, we don't understand as children.
We were like, why? We could have kept this money. They want to treat us.
Not only that, you had a credit account in all those stores, so if you wanted anything, you just take it, and then I would pay for it, you know, at a later time.
No, but my point is that we carry that with us, you know, into adulthood and into becoming women, and I think that a lot of that contributed, you know, into how we ended up becoming, you know, and the fact that we were very independent and we never really depended on anyone to take care of us. You know, we were, I mean, except for Daddy, you know.
Yeah, I always told him, don't depend on anybody.
We would go out
you'll marry somebody because you love them, not because you need them. Because if they don't treat you right, kick them to the curb and you keep on going. And that was from day one, that when they could understand.
All I gotta say is thank you for that, because everything that I gotta deal with is because of you.
So that's how you, I mean, I think.
But I do take that as a father. I do take that.
I think any parent that has daughters, you know, girls, you know, raising them. This is the, you know, because in the neighborhood, who married somebody because they got pregnant?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now you stay with them. Now you stay with them because you have nowhere else to go. The guy
not everybody, not everybody though. I got
not everybody. No, but what I'm saying is
because I did it.
No, but I'm saying,
and I loved him. I didn't.
But you loved him. But there are situations where they're pressured, like. They're really pressured into the guy doesn't want to, the girl doesn't really want to. They're pressured into it, and
they're pressured because one, no education, no skills to do anything independently. So that's why education was my main focus with them. You know, and once you have education and skills, then you marry for love, not because you need somebody to pay your bills. You can pay your own bills if you're educated. Education, something they can't take away from you. That doesn't work out, bye. Yeah. You continue living your life.
I mean, it's not as easy as saying bye because when love is involved, it's like all rhyme and reason goes out the door. So it doesn't matter how educated you are or how well off you are, how financially secure you are. That in the end.
But what he's trying to say, that doesn't come into a factor.
Right.
Like that's not a factor.
Right. You don't
that
have
if there
to. You
is
don't
no
have
love,
to stay there.
If there is no feeling, towards the person anymore, that you're not stuck staying in a situation because this person supports you or helps you or whatever the case may be. So
you don't need a meal ticket.
Right.
So Daddy,
Diana needs a meal ticket.
Well, I think we have to remind people.
All I'm saying is that I've only been retired for 5 years. Okay, I worked.
Retired.
I worked all those other years.
No, how many years did you work exactly?
Well, okay, I started working when I was 16 to 33. I'm gonna get a Social Security check. I put some time in.
And how long you been retired now?
For 5 years.
There you go. Work 10 and
I'm taking a sabbatical.
Actually, no. I will tell you.
To contribute to make sure.
You know what though? No. You people think that being home is an easy job. Okay, the few times that I've had to be home, I prefer to be out in the office. To do what she does every single day,
I wouldn't take it.
I wouldn't take it either. Like, it's hard. It's hard to be home, take care of kids, manage a household.
That's right. You talked me into it. I need to go get a job and I need to get back to work.
No, it's just I want to stress that a lot of times people don't realize how much work it takes to stay at home. It ain't like you're here just lounging and living the good life and going to spa treatments every single day.
I mean, today we're a little bit lounging with champagne.
It's work, and I prefer to be out the house any day.
I'll take that any day.
Than be home with my kids, and I love my kids, but Lord, that is a full-time job that you don't get rewarded for. You don't get a salary. There's no bonuses, no vacations.
That's where the grandmothers come in.
Thank God for grandmothers. That is sure right. So, Daddy, if you had to choose who was the easier child between me and Diana.
No, you gotta assess. No, but I think you should do that in phases, right? At what ages?
I was always the easiest.
No, you know what? She tries myself. She was the thing is, she was the most shiesty of the two. Okay, got away with murder.
Yes.
Broke her finger pointing at the older sister for everything that went wrong.
Okay, what?
Okay?
That's
like that kid in the video the other day with the paint.
Yes.
Who got the paint?
Yes, you saw that, right?
That's a bald-faced lie. What exactly did I point?
No, the thing was
you always
that,
threw your sister under the bus.
Yeah,
Don't stand there
exactly.
and say that you didn't do that.
She was bad.
You was a tattletale. A tattletale.
You threw her under the bus all the time to make yourself look innocent.
Yep.
I was innocent. She was bad.
No, the thing is, no. Let's really say how it was. Diana used to want to latch onto me and leech onto me so that she could do all of the bad shit that I was doing and then point the finger and be like, well, it was Nancy because Nancy's the older one. It was Nancy.
No, first of all, I don't remember pointing
of course you're not going to remember.
Of course you don't remember.
Okay, I remember blackmailing you and saying I was going to.
Yeah, you used to do that too, and that's why I used to not want you to hang out with me.
But I used to blackmail you because you didn't want me to hang out with you.
No, and I don't want you to hang out with me.
It was like, what came first, the egg, the chicken, or the egg?
I was hanging out with a person who's 2 years older, younger than them.
She's a snitch, and that was it.
Okay, first of all, you're lucky that I hung out with her because I probably kept her out of a ton of trouble that she could have gotten herself into.
Because you was a snitch.
No, because I was more mature than you.
No, because the fact was that you was a snitch, and if I did it, then I knew you was gonna go tell Daddy. That's what I'm saying.
Talking about once we were older, okay, and you was trifling. I'm the one that had to always be the level-headed one to say, okay, Nancy, chill.
And that's why my ass...
Like, we're not getting in this guy's car that we don't know.
You were smart, yeah.
Okay.
Money saved my life.
Let's charge these dresses first, and then ask Daddy for permission. After we've already
we never asked, we just used to say Daddy.
No, that was hush. First of all,
you didn't get anything?
You used to not get no dresses?
I did, but let me tell you this. First of all, but the one that was the irresponsible one that only had a little limit on my credit card because you didn't trust me. Meanwhile, she was the one that was charging everything. And then taking the money from our friends, charging our friends stuff and taking their cash.
Well, wait, But they wasn't gonna get free shit.
But you never gave the cash to Daddy.
It don't matter. But they wasn't going for a free ride.
Okay, the whole purpose was, give me the cash and give it to Daddy to pay the bill.
You're right. I should have gave it to him. But you trying to say. But you trying to say that
this is why I don't want to give my daughter credit.
But you trying to say that we should have let them get free rides.
No, I never said that.
They had to pay for their dresses, all the alcohol that we drank.
I'm saying how bad you were. That's actually kind of like stealing from your own parent.
But how good am I now?
Well,
I was such a great parent then. I had all these shiesty daughters. Huh?
No, you know what? It kind of worked. See, some of it worked for you, some of it worked against you. We were like that because you were so strict too. But the strictness...
Strict? What they have? credit cards at 15 and 16 with thousands of dollars a line of credit. All I gotta say is
you're crazy.
Well, no, I don't think he's crazy, because I think because he did all of that, it really, for me, kind of set me up for the kind of woman I wanted to become. Like, you know, we had our own cars. As soon as we turned 16, you know, we had cars. I didn't even have a driver's license yet, but I had a car parked in front of my house. You know, we had credit cards.
Parenting.
It was not. I know that I think in hindsight you believe that, but I really think that it just showed, it gave, I don't know, for me it gave me something to aspire to.
Well, I think what it did
it's all a part of being independent.
Right, yes.
Okay, you didn't go get into that bozo's car, you know, you want to go somewhere.
Right.
You have I'll meet you, bozo, where are you going?
I do have a problem with the credit card. I wouldn't, that to me,
well, for me,
listen, baby girl, I'm going to give an unlimited credit card when she's 16 next year.
As long as it comes out of your bank account.
Well, listen, my thing is this, the situation with the credit cards, you know, for me, I'd rather have my kid have a card, which we compromised and we decided to do a bank card versus a credit card. But I just don't feel that kids need to have cash. Like, I want to know, and...
So for you, you're not with the credit card yet, but...
Right. Well, no, Johanny and I were at odds when it came to, like, I mean, because it's something that I had. I was like, you know, okay, well, I'll just get her, you know, a credit card. And he was completely against it. And, you know, it really just came down to the fact that we ended up compromising and doing a bank card, you know, so that she would have something and not cash.
Right.
Like, I just didn't want her to have cash and then I don't know what you're spending your dollars on.
Right.
Versus, like, if you have a credit card, I know everything that you're spending on.
Yeah, but then also it has to do with independence. You don't have to depend on somebody else,
right.
male or female.
Right.
You get what you want. You're not beholden to them, and they're going to expect something in return. It's all part of the same.
Well, it's funny with the, like, being independent, because, I mean, I remember Dad always stressing, right, for us to be independent. But you and I were so independent that we were independent
of
things
him.
from them.
Yes,
and that was the part that he couldn't stand.
Right.
Like, I want you to be independent, but no, like, you still have to. And we were just like, no, you know, we've never had a problem having candid conversations with our parents.
Right.
Or
telling them when they wrong.
Right. I mean, respectfully, but being able to say that,
right.
you know, we think you're wrong in this, or trying to bring across our point of view on whatever issue it is.
Right, that I think we were independent in the true sense of the word.
Right.
You know, that we never felt like we couldn't express ourselves to our parents, even if our views differed
from theirs.
Yeah. And I think that that's probably something that I appreciate most from our relationship now, especially because we're adults. And, like, I feel like our parents are, like, you know, our closest friends, in addition to our spouses, and in addition to the relationship you and I have together. But, like, I don't feel like there's anything I can't go to them with. No matter what it is.
Right.
You know? And so I appreciate that from you, Dad, that you always, even, it's weird though, because you were not the easiest person to talk to when we were children, like younger.
Right.
Like you were the strict parent. You were the no-nonsense parent. You were the one, like
whenever we wanted something, we had to go to Mom.
We had to, like,
you talk to Dad?
You.
Like, you know.
Which is weird because you're not even, I know now, at your core, that's not who you
right.
are.
And it's funny, it was nothing was ever given, because I remember every year, you know, with the church, we went upstate with the church, which is crazy now when you think about it, with all the stuff that came out with the church. Thank God we were a part of a really great church.
Right.
But, you know, even going upstate every year, and every year it was like, Mom, please, like, it was never given, like, oh, you just because you went last year, automatically you're gonna go next year. It was always like, talk to him and beg to go.
You know what? I had to see your grades first. Hello.
Oh, right.
Everything raising you was based on grades. Grades got you rewards. Good grades.
Grades got you punishment.
Bad grades got you punishment. They stripped down to your, you know, hand-me-downs.
Yeah, but you know what? In all fairness, my punishments when it came to so-called bad grades were far worse than Diana's. And to be honest, I was always the better student
You know
on
what?
paper.
You were the better student up until 8th grade. After 8th grade,
whatever.
you were done.
Yeah, but that's when I was getting all the punishments.
Right, you know why?
No, you weren't, Nancy. You got punished in high school because you didn't go.
But it wasn't for grades. I used to get punished in high school for other shit.
No, you didn't. You
It
got
was
punished.
behave-
Nancy,
it was everything. It was
you cut a
grades.
year and a half of school.
But they didn't know that until the end when I couldn't
No,
graduate.
they did know it because they used to send the cut cards
No,
home
and
all
I
the
used
time.
to get the cut cards because I was home.
Nancy, the truancy police picked you up. Come on, stop it.
But that was in Richmond Hill, and I had
And
called
when I was
mommy,
in
and I didn't call daddy.
And when I was in high school, I was a very good student, okay? I was in
Yeah.
AP classes.
I'm not
and I
talking
graduated early.
I'm talking about when we were younger.
Right,
yes.
and all that pressure that they
one
put on
graduates
you.
early and one graduates
Okay,
late.
all that pressure that they put on you, they let me kind of, and even still, because they always made me like I was the dumb one.
But you know why? You know
So
why?
they had their expectations were like way lower for me.
No. The problem.
Oh
with
my
her-
God, you're still not gonna admit that?
The problem with her is we knew she could do better. So even
Diana could do better too.
No, but you.
In
you
all
felt-
honesty, Diana, in my opinion, you are the smarter one. Like, I think you're smarter than I am.
I think I am too.
But
Well,
the reason
no,
why
I
you're
think
punished
it's just-
is because we knew you could do better. Your bad grades were due for lack of trying, not for
No,
lack
they
of knowledge.
weren't.
It was from a lack of not going.
That
No,
too.
yes, that was in high school. But Nancy, any time before then, she was that I have to agree with. She was an extremely good student who really tried. Which is why I would think they would have been harder on me, because for me,
Right, you didn't try.
like, it was just like, all right, I'm
But
gonna
it
get
seemed
this
like
80.
it came easier to you for some reason.
Because
it
it
did.
was.
But I was lazy. I hated school.
Well, she's feeling better.
So, yes, Diana is the smarter one. I will admit it here on my podcast.
Finally.
Don't put that on
Finally.
recording. You'll never hear the end of it.
So, Daddy, let's talk about when me and Daddy used to sneak out the house.
No. Okay. I say yes.
You say yes.
Now do it.
Did you ever know?
Baby girl, I want you to listen in everything your mother's going to say now, okay? Try to remember it.
And I just want to, I'm going to caveat that by that we only used to sneak out of the house because you were so strict and didn't allow. We had a 9 o'clock curfew, and I was like 18 years old.
No, you weren't, Nancy. We were going to Miami already when you were 18.
So why we used
That's
to
the
sneak
thing.
out?
Well, because, Daddy always had the philosophy, if you have somewhere to go, you can go. If you don't, you're not going anywhere to be hanging out on a corner.
idle hands, you get into trouble. Idle hands, you have somewhere to go, fine. When you're going, who you going with, and by the time you come back.
But we used
No
to be
problem.
in Victor Harvey's house. We wasn't going anywhere. We was going to their house, from one house to another house.
Listen, Johanny, these girls were so, I had an alarm with an early warning system. They evaded the early warning system and got and got out the door.
But there's a way.
Yo, for real, like y'all studied Mission Impossible.
Yo, and then one time, wait. And we used to be real bold and just walk out the front door.
Well, at first, we would, we started by, like, jumping the fence, going out through the
Just jump the
window,
fence.
all types of stuff. But then our neighbor from the back started complaining and saying that people were back there. So we were like, oh, Dad, we don't know. We were deny. So we were like, okay. Finally, when we
But then there was one time when my friend Michelle came to stay over, and I was like, all right, Michelle, let's practice sneaking out from Diana's window, because Diana's
How you got down?
Wait, I'm gonna tell you. So Diana's window was like right above the roof from the deck in our backyard. This girl, I don't know.
Well, she was the tallest, so we were like, if you hang,
right, and then
you
you
just
bring
be
the rest
able
of
to
us.
like throw yourself down.
But Dito,
She ripped her jeans and
she
everything.
ripped her jeans, but she ripped her whole. She got scrapes on the back of her leg, all bloodied. Her freaking jeans
Good for
ripped,
you.
and I was like, oh, I guess we can do it that way.
Moral of the story is, use a test on me, and if it doesn't work, try another way.
Good thing I wasn't born.
No, you wasn't born yet,
Oh,
mommy. I was still a little baby. I was still a little girl. But then eventually we just started sneaking out the front door. Then one year we were trying to sneak out because it was our friend's birthday. But my father and his birthday are like on the same day. His birthday was like the 3rd. Daddy's birthday's on the 4th. Right, Anthony?
Yes.
And he was having a party, but we couldn't go because my father was mad strict. And he was like, I can't go. But he was like, all right, you're going to go to sleep. And we're just going to go sneak out when you're sleeping.
And the funny thing is, we had all, like, our cousins, our friends, everybody would stay over our house. And then all the parents knew how my father was, so they'd be like, oh, yes, you want to stay over Nancy and Diana's house? Go right ahead, because that daddy don't let them girls do anything. We was all sneaking
All
out.
behind your back, then. All behind your back.
So this one day, We all ready with our clothes. We had makeup and everything, ready to go out. Yo, my freaking doorbell rang, and we like, who? It was like midnight. Who the hell is coming at this? Yo, when that first of all, my father woke up mad.
Well, let's just say that was the grace of God.
It was,
because if
when
we were
busted.
10 minutes later, we would have been busted.
and in trouble like a mother.
And there was no pagers and beepers and cell phones like that they could call us. They would have just been sitting there heated waiting for us to come home to beat somebody.
Yeah, we would have been having fun or happy. When we get in the house, we would have had ass whippings ready for each of us. But we opened, my father opens the door, we all in the sala, hiding under the covers, right, with our clothes and shit. And it was my aunts that came to surprise my father to wish him like a happy birthday in the middle of the night. Okay? And that was like, Dana said,
was on your side.
by the grace of God,
Yes.
that we didn't get caught. Oh my God, but we've had some.
Okay, so your form of parenting, was that a punishable offense?
Yeah, it is, of course.
You know.
Well, you know what? I mean, for me, like, there are things that, you know, and I hate to say it, but I think that the area right now that I'm raising my kids in, parents are really laxed, and they allow their kids to do a lot more than I remember our parents ever letting us do. And while I think I've kind of opened it up a little bit, there are certain things where I feel like, no, my kids need to sneak around.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm not going to be okay with, you know, kids coming to my house and drinking in front of me and, you know, doing those type of things where, you know, some parents allow.
And that's so that we're clear, these are 13, 14-year-olds.
Right.
Right?
Right. Well, 14, 15. I know 15, 16 actually.
Oh, okay.
But
still, that's still too
right,
young.
it's still way too young. And, you know, and I think that that's all a part of growing up, you know? Sneaking around, getting caught.
But I think the problem is that as parents, we're influenced by the environment and the neighborhoods we live in.
Right, that too.
You guys live in such a, you know, bad neighborhood. I couldn't allow anything.
Right.
Whereas now my grandchildren, in the neighborhood, we can, you know, allow certain things at an earlier age that I would never have allowed.
Right.
And you guys are doing it.
Right.
So that's why you're always a product of your environment, you know, good or bad.
Yeah, but I still think that there are a lot of things that Diana and I both implement into our own parenting styles that we got from you and mommy. You know, like there's just certain things, like for example, like holidays, you're not spending it in nobody's house. Like you're not gonna go with friends. There's no holidays. We spending it together. And you know, for other cultures, it's perfectly fine for their kids not to be present.
Right.
You know, for certain holidays. But you know, for us, that's like, it's never an option. It's never a question. You're gonna be with us, and that's it.
Oh, and just for the record, you refer to ass whoopings all the time. How many actual ass whoopings did you get?
Enough for me to remember.
Right, which is probably 2 object lessons that you knew what was coming if you ever did it again.
As a grandfather, how do you feel about those object lessons now?
Yes, Daddy. Yes. The object lessons that you taught your children as a grandfather now, right?
No, but wait, my role is different.
No.
My role is different as a grandfather.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you cannot begrudge the parents of your grandchildren to apply those same kind of lessons.
No. You can apply all you want. It has nothing to do with me.
No, but you
My
try
role
to
is
make
different.
excuses for it, and
I
you don't
made
want
excuses. What excuse I made?
You want to defend the grandchildren. Oh, you're too hard on them.
Well, I mean, they have to have.
Oh my God, you've gotten so far as to that they shouldn't even get hit.
They have to have some advocacy. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about over there?
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, I remember, you know, when you were pregnant, actually before.
A little louder.
Yeah, you know, always claiming and criticizing me and my parenting skills and how much structure you were going to have for your kids, how great and wonderful and respectful and great they were going to be.
You know, it's different when you're not in it, girl. Once you're in it,
that's right. So
all bets are off.
So say you sorry. Say you sorry, boo.
Look, I'm sorry, girl. I know that this parenting thing was this hard. I have to say. But you know what, though? Knowing how hard it is, Daddy, I have to say kudos to you because you raised 2 phenomenal daughters.
Okay, I will go home with you.
You go home with me?
Okay, I want to go home right now.
Okay, in a second.
Remember what I always say: parenting is a crapshoot. There's no books. You know how your aunt wanted me to read books?
And you did read books. I remember finding a tough love book.
I never read them. Never did I read any of those books that your aunt used to give me. Okay, never. I never read one. She gave them to me during the top of the...
Ain't that a blip, right? She was giving books about, child rearing, but she didn't have any kids of her own. So I mean, I guess maybe that was her way of trying to help you.
She had a minor in psychology too. Remember that?
Yeah, well, I guess she was trying to help you, but she didn't have experience of her own, so she said, "Let me pass you this book."
Yeah, every book was on the top of the pantry closet. You know that. I never read a one because it's a crapshoot. What works for one doesn't work for the other.
That is true. You're right. There are some things that a textbook is not going to teach you, and a part of that is really knowing your children.
Right. I didn't want to muddy the waters. Me reading something and then it.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what works. I mean, even for me as a parent, what works with one doesn't necessarily work with the other.
That's what Daddy just said.
So I mean, and you and I were completely different.
But we all are, though. Yeah. We all are, and we see in every household, in every family, you grow up with the same values, the same morals, the same parents, right? And everyone is different. Everyone turns out different. So you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach in raising your children. So I guess with that, I'm going to end this episode of this week's The Empowerment Hour podcast. I hope that you all enjoyed this conversation, a candid conversation with my family. It was something I had wanted to do for Father's Day, and I just want to wish all the dads out there a very happy Father's Day. And remember, there's no one way to be a parent. Do what works for you and your family, and then just pray. Till next time, guys, go out there and crush those goals.